What's up? I'm the Kind Assassin, and today I'm going to talk about episode 1 of Ahsoka. And even though Disney did drop 2 episodes yesterday, I only watched the first one, so I'll be doing a video of the second one later, so stay tuned. Now, my whole premise for the series was to go in blind and watch the series without knowing anything about Ahsoka or the storyline connected to the Clone Wars and Rebels. I just wanted to see if I would be able to follow along. Now, I was tempted to watch the Man of Recaps recap of the Clone Wars and Rebels. He does a really good job of recapping and reviewing shows in general. I'm a big fan of his channel, and so I was tempted to watch that to get the backstory, but I decided I just wanted to go in fresh.
I like to go in fresh.
By the way, if you have not seen the Man of Recaps, I would definitely check out his channel because he does the best recaps ever. Some of the things I enjoyed about this episode was really just kind of the plot line. When the opening crawl, came on the screen, it really did help set the stage. And it was a pretty, simple plot line to follow. Ahsoka has heard that Thrawn may be still alive, and she wants to find a map to find him and I guess stop him because, if he comes back into power, he'll help bring the Empire back. And so Ahsoka wants to stop that. Now, I don't really know who Thrawn is, so that is one part of the show where I was a little bit lost. I've heard of him just by being a general Star Wars fan. Like, he's this blue guy that's like a bad guy, but I don't really know anything about him. Apparently, he might still be alive. He died, but maybe not. So some of the things that I enjoyed about the show was the scene where the character Baylan Skoll came onto the ship and was like killing everybody. Really reminded me of New Hope and Rogue One, where Vader came on the ship and was killing everybody. So that was like a cool callback. And I also liked the Master Apprentice title, even though at the beginning I didn't really know what it was referring to. But initially I thought, maybe Vader was going to be in the show or in this episode because Anakin was Ahsoka's master. But then, over the course of the episode, you find out that it's really referring to Baylan and Shin Hati. Because they were able to trace those lightsabers back to them. So they realized they're master and apprentice, but also referred to Ahsoka and Sabine. And that was a point where I was a little bit lost because I did not know that Ahsoka was Sabine's master. And apparently she left, she walked away from the Jedi and all of it, which I didn't know either. So I was lost on that part. But I guess because of that, there's some tension between Ahsoka and Sabine. There was some points, I will admit, that I was really lost and didn't know what was going on or what the people were talking about. So, for example, when the green girl, I think her name is Hera Syndulla, so I don't know who she is, she mentioned Ezra.
If Thrawn survived, does that mean Ezra? I hope so.
And I was like, okay, who's Ezra? But apparently he's a major character and a lot of fans really want to see him come back. I don't know any of that. I don't know who Ezra is, so that was one point where I was lost. Also, the Baylan Skoll, I don't know if he's new and was created for this series, the same with Shin Hati, or if she was or they were both from a different part of the Clone Wars or Rebels, They seem like kind of interesting because they have Jedi powers, but they're like bad guys. So are they on the dark side, So we'll see how that plays out. Or maybe I just don't know that they are already on the dark side. So again, lost. Even though the plot line of the episode, pretty easy to follow, I will say that there's gaps in my knowledge of some of the things that they're talking about and some of these characters. Some of the things that I didn't really like, or I just kind of was rolling my eyes a little bit, was Sabine. So, very clearly at the beginning when they first introduced her, she's on the motorcycle. She's kind of leaving the city. She's not participating in the ceremony. She's not following orders. She's kind of just doing her own thing. So obviously she's like a rebel. It just seemed like a little over the top and in your face that she's a rebel and it just seemed like kind of cliche. This whole like, I'm not going to follow your rules kind of reminded me of a character from Family Guy.
I play by my own rules. Nobody else's. Not even my own.
So that was just like a little, okay, I get it. She's a rebel. Also, it was pretty predictable that when she disobeyed Ahsoka and stole the map or took the map with her, that she was eventually going to get it stolen by the bad people, right? It's like pretty cliche storyline. You kind of knew that her decision and her kind of arrogance of like, oh, I know everything, you can't tell me what to do, was going to lead to a bad outcome and have a negative impact on other characters. But, whatever. It wasn't like a detriment to the episode. It was just kind of like, okay, I get it, cliche rebel story. I was happy that the writers introduced lightsaber fighting scenes in this first episode. They didn't bury it like 3 or 4 episodes down the road. There was the one in the beginning where Ahsoka was fighting those droid guys at the temple. And then towards the end, Sabine and Shin Hati were fighting as well. So that was cool, they brought out lightsabers early, but there was just something missing in those scenes. And I can't really pinpoint what it is, other than I just didn't get the emotional reaction that I typically get when I see those duels. I don't know if I'm just being very judgmental and have like really high expectations now because of all of the content that's come out in the Star Wars universe, or what it is. I really don't know. So that's just one thing that I was kind of like, okay, cool, but it's not doing it for me this time. We'll see, how things pan out over the next few episodes over the course of the season. It was really interesting to me that even though the show is named after Ahsoka, obviously she's the main character, it did feel that she was like subdued or kind of more in the background, and all the other things happening kind of overpowered her presence. So Sabine's storyline definitely felt like it was more of a main character story, and just kind of the whole like the map and Thrawn and Ezra, and kind of like the past still being present, and the trauma of the past, like all the characters felt or feel is still there. It felt like that was more important than Ahsoka herself. Maybe it's because she's, maybe subdued's not the right word. Maybe she's very stoic, reserved. She's definitely feels grounded as a character, but maybe that just made her kind of go back into the background versus everything else happening. So, I would like to see her front and center a little bit more. Even though she was, right? She was in the opening scene, like she was in a lot of the scenes. She was in the end scene, like going to rescue Sabine. Obviously she's the major character, but just something felt like she kind of faded away a little bit in comparison to everything else happening in the other characters. But we'll see if she, comes into her own over the course of the series. One part that I thought was funny was when Sabine was trying to figure out how to read the map, and she has this like, oh my God, that's it moment. It reminded me of Ace Ventura.
That's it. Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is a man.
He's like, oh, that's it. So it just kind of, reminded me of that. It was really funny. So overall, I did enjoy the show. I'm a Star Wars fan, and I like to learn about different characters. So I'm interested to learn more about this character and this part of the universe. So I'm looking forward to watching episode 2, and I'll be reviewing that one shortly. And I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the series. So let me know what you guys thought about the show. If you have anything that you want to share with me that you think is important for me to know, or maybe you'll keep quiet so I can still go in fresh and see if I can figure out what's happening. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.